Hey, I'm Tyler Anderson, chef at the Copper Beech Inn. I'm 32 and live in Westbrook, Connecticut. I got my first kitchen job when I was 16 years old, and it kind of stuck. I've worked for many great chefs. My mentor is a lady named Sarah Stegner, who's a two-time James Beard Award winner from Chicago. I worked for her in Chicago at the Ritz-Carlton, and then at Prairie Grass Cafe in Northbrook. She taught me the farm-to-table concept, which is something that I use to this day. From there, I became the executive chef at the Equinox in Manchester, Vermont, where we used the bounty of Vermont and New England in our cooking and used a lot of local, very local farms and local produce, local animals as well in our cooking. From there, I went to become the chef at the Arabelle at Vail Square, a brand new 5-star hotel in Vail. Now I'm the chef at the Copper Beech Inn in Connecticut, where we use almost all local produce and utilize local farmers and local seafood, as well as sustainable items in our cooking. Here at the Copper Beech Inn, we have two different restaurants, two small restaurants. We have a very traditional French brasserie, Brasserie Pip, where we highlight our house-cured charcuterie, as well as a pretty extensive drink list. We dabble in mixology and use a lot of local produce to create some pretty extravagant drinks in here. On the other side of the building, we have our other restaurant, the 4-Diamond award-winning Copper Beech Inn restaurant, and that's where we do our aggressive American cuisine, sort of a spastic thinker. So that's where our menu changes all the time. It's based on what we get delivered to the back door. Just 5 minutes ago, we got delivered 3 beautiful striped bass from a local fisherman. So tonight, those will be on the menu. I believe that the best quality product doesn't always come in large quantities and isn't always readily available. So to have the flexibility to change our menus based on the amount of product we get and what is seasonal and available allows us to put out the best quality food. My favorite foods are foods that are prepared from the best ingredients, from the freshest ingredients, and with love, honestly. It doesn't matter if it's the freshest local foie gras or the best hamburger that's ground from quality cow. You can do great things with everything. It's just starting with the best ingredient. It's impossible to take a bad ingredient and turn it into something beautiful. So it's very important to start with the best, and hopefully at the end, you end with the best. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. The food doesn't matter if I'm eating at Le Bernardin, you know, which is obviously one of the best restaurants in the world, or if I'm eating at the Great Burger Place that's right down the street from here. If it's prepared with love, you know, and with great ingredients, and with a touch of creativity, it's something I'm definitely interested in. My love of food probably comes from my mother, who was a foods teacher in high school and sort of was always tinkering around in the kitchen, not always putting out the best things in the world, but definitely like fresh, healthy foodstuffs that we were able to enjoy some of the time. It wasn't always the best, but that's probably where my love of food started, from her. Very well. So this is a perfect example of a great fresh ingredient. This fish was caught probably hours ago. You can see by the clarity of its eyes and a lot of other things. So I'm going to break this fish down. This is a striped bass from Long Island Sound. Right to the back of the fish. And there it is, beautiful. So what we've got is a fresh fillet. You can tell because of the red bloodlines. So fresh. Carve off a piece. Eat it just as so. Alright, so this is a few examples of things that we cook with here, and this is how we cook here. Very seasonal. We're pretty much dealing with the bounty of spring right now. So we have a few things from the garden. Some little baby radishes with tops that we're going to be using. We don't know how we're going to use any of this yet. It'll kind of just come to us. And some little baby squash with flowers. You know, this may not be the most beautiful flower in the world, but it sure does taste good. Then we have some foraged items. Some mushrooms that just came out of the forest about 5 minutes ago. We have wine cap mushrooms. We have a dry-ass saddle. Is it a dryad saddle? Dryad saddle right here, mushroom from off the side of a tree. And then we have some wild ramps, which are a wild onion that are delicious this time of year. You know, it's dirty, it's ugly, it's clunky. So what we have here is a fillet of the striped bass, some of the mushrooms. What kind of mushrooms, Matt? White cap mushrooms that Matt got in the forest earlier, and some of the ramp leaves. We're also confying the ramp bulbs in our favorite ingredient, butter. And we'll put it all together to make a dish that was a dish in which everything was alive earlier today. So what we're practicing with this dish is we're practicing ocean to table and forest to table. We're using all foraged ingredients from back here, and we're using obviously the fish that we got earlier that was from the Sound right down the road. I guess this is a different way to cook than most restaurants because none of these items came on a delivery truck. We didn't call and have any of them ordered. There were no invoices for any of them. The foraged items were free, and the fishermen, we pay them cash for the fish. Is it extreme cuisine? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's extreme, but I guess with some of the foraged items, if you don't know what you're doing, you could probably pretty easily die from them. I guess that's extreme. Fortunately, we have a resident mushroom expert on hand who keeps us from poisoning customers here. So even though we're kind of out in the boonies here in the middle of nowhere in Connecticut, we're still only an hour and a half from New York City, probably one of the best dining cities in the world. So my cooks and I go on these dining excursions at least probably once every 2 months. And they kind of have to prep to go out to eat with me because I eat competitively when we do go out. So what we do is we'll have like 3 or 4 dinners in the same day. So the last one we started, we started at Jean George. We had lunch at Jean George, and then off to David Chang to Sambar after that, and then Spotted Pig after that. And by the time we got to the last place, oh yeah, we went to this like little Indian curry place. By the time we got to the last place, we were sweating because we had so much to eat and a little bit to drink. So I guess, you know, I guess I always am extreme with food. I always kind of go like the extra mile when it comes to, you know, what I love and what I, you know, whatever. Why pick me? Because I'm enthusiastic, passionate about what I do, a little bit of a jackass, as others would describe me. And, you know, I love this and I love to have fun with food. So every day in a professional kitchen can be an adventure. You never know who's going to get burned, who's going to cut a finger off. But if I had to think of a time that was the most crazy in my food career, it would probably be appearing on the show Chopped. They kind of throw you to the wolves. You open a basket full of horrible ingredients that you would never pair together, and you try to make something that is edible from some things that are not edible together. They're cranking the heat on you. There's cameras all over the place. You have 20 minutes in a kitchen that you've never been in. So it wasn't exactly fun to do. It was okay. It was fun at the end when I got the $10,000 check, but doing it was probably the most extreme situation of my career. I'm Tyler Anderson. Let's get hot.